That's for the fact we don't know when the next episode is. I mean, come on, it's the freaking series finale, and they're not going to tell us when it is, just that it's sometime next year. Oh, flipping heck, come on, guys. But anyway, yeah, I have noticed, actually, it's kind of a weird thing that can happen sometimes with TV shows. The one before the finale sometimes isn't very good. But not this time, though. This was a great episode. It didn't sort of leave me hanging in the way that I kind of expected it to be, you know, considering the next one is the last episode. You know, by the way, yeah, spoilers for anyone that wasn't aware, Gravity Falls is ending. The next episode is going to be the series finale, which I'm actually okay with, really, because I didn't want it to just run on, you know, forever and ever and ever and get stale and just, you know, jump the shark and everything. I wanted them to quit, you know, when they ran out of ideas and when, you know, they felt that the characters had run their course and everything and, you know, they'd said everything that they wanted to say. Still, only 2 seasons, kind of disappointing, but yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm pleased, if anything. Let's talk about the episode. Yeah, great episode. Really just stunning to look at visually, just so much to look at. You know, when I first watched this, I actually had somewhere to be immediately afterwards, so I had to go off and do that thing. As soon as I, you know, had a bit more free time again, I went in and I watched it, you know, again straight away, and I was just looking at all kinds of different things, stuff I didn't notice the first time. There's just, you know, just a lot to look at in this episode. And after I finished watching it, I went and watched it again. So I have now watched it 3 times in preparation for this vlog, whereas normally I'll sort of watch it once and then maybe just sort of skim through it a second time, really. But this time, you know, I was paying sort of full attention, like on 3 separate viewing. Really incredible to look at this sort of utopia that Mabel has sort of created, or, you know, Bill has created, but Mabel has sort of made into her own kind of little world that Zeus calls a shining, shimmering splendor. And I kind of wonder, is that a reference to Aladdin? I wonder, you know, it's a Disney show. I wonder. You know, it's interesting because I thought, you know, the bit where Wendy climbs the tree into the bunker. I thought that might have been a reference to Mulan, because again, you know, Disney show. I like the fact that there's actually a callback to the very first episode with the absolutely, yes, definitely list, whatever it was that it said, and also the awkward sibling hug at the very end. That was really cool, but it also raises a kind of interesting kind of idea at the end of this episode, which is that, like, you know, imagine if you did have like a utopia that you could just live in for all eternity and you could just have everything you ever wanted, you know, everything was perfect, everything was exactly as you wanted it. Would you be happy, really? Especially if you knew that this was a sort of utopia, because a lot of the time, you know, the great triumphs in life, the great, you know, real satisfying things that make you happy, what really makes them kind of satisfying and makes you happy about it is the fact that it's not something you always experience. You just sort of imagine, you know, what if, like, you got married every single day, or what if it was Christmas every day, or, you know, you got to eat tons of chocolate, you go and see, you know, your lifetime heroes every single day. It would get a bit boring after a while. It wouldn't be so special. I mean, I think somebody said to me once, you know, what really gives value to, you know, the news that you've passed a test or, you know, something like that, is the fact that there's the possibility that you might not pass it. You know, you need there to be that possibility of things going wrong, of things not being the way you wanted them, of, you know, things at times just being very sort of ordinary and nothing special happening, to make those good things, you know, properly appreciative and to make them exciting, to make them worthwhile and for it to be satisfying. So to just live in a perfect world where you get everything you want every single day, it would get a bit boring after a while. It would, you know, be very sort of unsatisfying, especially if you knew, you know, really what you're living in isn't real. You know, Dipper raises an interesting kind of point. I'm a bit confused by those little sort of realities, or no, not realities, flashbacks that we see. You know, we see the sort of first part of those realities. Only 2 as well. I would have liked to have just seen a third one, just as give us a little bit of a sort of proper sort of, you know, overview of everything. I didn't really feel like they got the point across enough with just 2 of them. But, you know, I guess they're on a time constraint, you know, of, you know, it has to fit into the half-hour slot on the Disney Channel. So, you know, there probably was a third one that they had to cut out. I was kind of confused by both of those, because I kind of wonder, you know, when we see, you know, how it really worked out in the end with Dipper. Why didn't Dipper just say, when they showed, like, the first part of those, like, little flashbacks, he said, hey, wait a minute, that's not the whole story. You know, there was a bit after that, you know, that happened. Especially with the second one. The second one, to me, doesn't strike me as, like, a particularly bad memory as far as Mabel's concerned. You know, does she really value Dipper that much as a brother, that, you know, to see Dipper miserable is the same as her feeling miserable? I mean, I suppose she does say in an earlier episode how can I be happy when I know someone else is sad? And, you know, this is her brother that, you know, she's like that with. So, yeah, I guess I can kind of see that. But, you know, again, very much Dipper would have remembered exactly how that played out. When he wouldn't he have just sort of said, hey, wait a minute, you know, there's another bit to that, you know, that you skipped over. Kind of confused why Dipper doesn't say that. Anything there. Cool to see Wendy, you know, again, back playing this kind of large role. I actually felt she was a little bit wasted in this one, actually. I actually thought, you know, they could have put her to better use, you know, for a long period of this episode. She's just sort of standing there and just sort of not saying anything or not doing anything. Probably her best scene is the scene where, you know, she says to Dipper, you know, we could be together, you know. And that wasn't even really her. So yeah, a little disappointing. Cool to see all those characters at the very end, you know, that they're probably going to, like, turn into a big army and, you know, fight Bill with, you know. I had to pause the second time I was watching just to see who was there. You've got one of the Manitors. You've obviously got the Multi-Bear from the same episode. I guess maybe the Manitors and the Multi-Bear have put their differences aside. Now they're going to team up to fight Bill, maybe. Some sort of pirate-looking character. I forget what he's from, actually. It doesn't ring a bell, that guy. The guy who married a woodpecker. His woodpecker appears to have been turned to stone, but he hasn't. I guess maybe he escaped just as Bill was in the process of turning him to stone, but then he got away. Pacifica? Candy and Grenda. God, honestly, I can't actually remember any of the other characters. You know, who else was in there? But, yeah, they're all going to team up, minus Ford, I suppose, among the main characters. Going to fight Bill in some kind of epic battle at the end. It's going to be an hour-long finale. Cannot wait for that. I want to know when it is. You know, I'm not bothered about the show ending, I just need to know when it's ending. It's difficult to think of anything else really to say. It's just a really stunning episode to look at visually, a few sort of callbacks to previous episodes. I kind of wonder, are we going to find anything else out about this goat? You know, that you keep, like, constantly seeing in quite a sort of prominent kind of role. You know, it's gigantic in this world that Bill has created now. Does that have some kind of significance, I wonder? Maybe there may be something more to that. But yeah, really, just a really fascinating kind of idea of just, you create like this sort of hell, basically, you know, where everything is, you know, just awful, and then you put a little utopia, like, in the middle of it, where you Wendy not like, and you're like, you know, they're not going to want to escape, basically. When it needs, you know, someone like Dipper to just sort of point out to them that this isn't real, we're going to get kind of boring after a while, you need to get back out there and we need to fight Bill and get back to reality. Yeah, I kind of like that. They didn't really explain exactly why Bill's minions are not able to leave the little boundaries of Gravity Falls. They appear to be like inside a dome. Kind of gives me flashbacks to you know, that crappy TV show Under the Dome, actually, or the Simpsons movie, maybe a better comparison. But yeah, they don't really explain what that's about. I assume, you know, we're probably going to find out later on. Kind of interesting. I noticed when Wendy's gang of friends turned up, Robbie wasn't there. So I wonder, I assume that's an illusion, but that's not actually them. You know, they've probably been turned to stone. I'd like to know more about Wendy, actually. I kind of feel like she, in some ways, in season 1 I wasn't interested in knowing more about her. Now I am interested in knowing more about her, and they're not really giving us anything. We're just sort of seeing her just sort of turn up now and again to just do the odd little thing here and there, and then she's gone again. I think the mic drop joke, you know, I'm not sure kids are going to get that, actually, but that was really clever, I thought, you know, mic drop, which basically means when you've made some kind of real, like, emphatic statement that there's just no arguing with. People say it's a mic drop moment. Yeah, they don't actually explain what that's about, but yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. Probably a more of a joke, you know, for the older members of the audience. I would have thought kids probably aren't going to get that. I'm trying to think of things off the top of my head again that I thought were really cool that are just sort of in the background, and you know, I can't really think of anything. You just need to sort of watch it just to get the full appreciation of everything that happens and everything that you can see in this episode. It's just something that's great to just sort of pause every now and again and just look at. It's just so interesting to look at this sort of Mabel land that she's created and everything. And, you know, the callbacks to previous episodes and everything, which is, of course, something that this show has been doing, like, constantly throughout all of the episodes, and I'm sure we're going to get a ton more callbacks to previous episodes in the finale. But yeah, what a way to set things up. You know, there isn't any kind of real cliffhanger or anything, but I guess, you know, the cliffhanger was a couple of episodes previous, you know, with, like, Bill taking over, and this is just sort of drawing you in. I kind of wonder, actually, if this was originally intended as like a movie. It doesn't really seem like it's being split up into individual stories in each episode. It does seem very much like just parts of one big kind of climax to everything. If that's the case, I kind of wonder why Disney didn't allow Alex Hirsch to make this into a movie and maybe release it theatrically. How cool would that have been? But, you know, I'm not really complaining. It probably would have, you know, taken a couple of years to release something like that theatrically. You know how it is with, you know, movies in the modern day industry. Possibly, you know, it would have just been something that on the Disney Channel, but So again, that does sort of make me wonder, why wouldn't Disney allow them to do that? Maybe it was Alex Hirsch's decision. Maybe he thought it worked better as splitting it up into individual episodes. But anyway, an hour-long finale is still going to be pretty awesome, I think. And this is going to be one of those very few TV shows that we've ever seen, assuming the finale is good, of course, which I'm sure it will be. One of those few TV shows out there that never had a bad episode. What am I going to do? I think... I suppose I've got plenty about 4 or 5 off the top of my head that I can really say that about, honestly. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen every TV show out there, and even that I have seen a lot of them, there's certainly a lot that I haven't seen every episode of, but off the top of my head, of all the TV shows I've seen, I can only think of, about 4 or 5 that I think has never had a bad episode, and assuming the finale's good, this is definitely going to be one of them, so I will see you for that, guys, some point in the early part of next year, I would imagine. I certainly hope it's the early part of next year. I hope we're not going to have to wait until summer again. He's probably thinking, the show's set in summer, we better end it in summer. It's like, no, don't do that. Don't make us wait until summer. And then what am I going to do? I suppose I've got plenty of time to think about it. Anyway, guys, see ya. Obviously, Grundy and Kanda. Grundy and Kanda! Just... bloody hell. That's a great little isolated key. I think I'm going to put that one on the end. Candy and Grenda. Oh, for goodness sake, what is wrong with me? I've lost my train of thought now.